Welcome to another episode of FaBFaM, where we are joined with Smithel.
You didn't say friends and memories.
Apparently, it's friends and memories. There's your introduction. You're welcome.
Fantastic. Hi, Smithel.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. All right. What you
Oh
got?
man, it's wonderful. It's wonderful here. You know?
This poor guy has been talking to us for about 20 minutes while we frantically searched for things and
That we did
trying to
not
get
need.
the setup. But we didn't need it at all. I just needed to know that it was there. So
I already said my favorite line I think so far has been, "Where's Briar? Is she safe?" You know?
Always gotta know
oh, you
about safety.
guys, and I think technically they will know by the time yours comes out what that means.
Hopefully.
So we met Smithel on Twitter. And then got introduced to what we brought him on for, which is this amazing thing called Commoner League. And Smithel, why don't you just give us a little brief overview of what Commoner League is?
Yeah, so I run a Flesh and Blood league focused on the commoner format. It is called Flesh and Common Blood. That was supposed to be a temporary name. It just kind of has stuck since then. We just wrapped up our second season, which you two participated in, which was awesome.
Thanks for showing the stats on that, by the way.
I mean, it is. I'm doing as much as I can here, but
Like,
what
oh,
we
look
do
at all
is
those zeros next to Hank. Does that mean he's good?
I mean, it is like golf where the lowest score wins because I also have a whole bunch of zeros.
Yes.
If you go my week by week by week, I think
Heck
I
yeah.
have 1-2-0 win, and I think I won one round elsewhere. So somewhere between 4 and 5 points, I think I was sitting.
Wow.
But the reason why I decided to create the league is because at the time when I started to play, there was no LGS that fit my schedule that I knew of near me. And, I wanted to kind of play the game. It looked like a lot of fun. I was doing a little bit of kitchen table play with my wife, a little bit of sealed, things like that. But after, she went 3-1 against me and then, decided, I'm not going to play anymore. That kind of killed my vibes. So I was like, okay, I need to do something. So I put it out there saying, hey, does anybody want to play Commoner? If so, I'll put up a league. Maybe we'll have a little tournament, things like that. We messed with the rules of Commoner just a little bit. I mean, deck structure, as you guys know, is all the same and things like that. But the first season, it was just best of 3. I said it kind of feels bad if you only get one game a week and it's over in 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to allow people at least a couple chances to play and get to know others, which is kind of the main deal.
Right.
And so we built that out. Everybody seemed to have a good time. I put a survey out at the end of the season saying, hey, do you want to keep this as is? Do you want to switch it up? Maybe go to best of 3? Do you want to ban decks? All that kind of good stuff. And overwhelmingly in the survey, folks kind of liked that it wasn't just one match Commoner. And they said, hey, look, yeah, let's try bans. Let's try something. Make it up. Let's have some fun. And that's kind of what led to last season being 3 decks, ban 1, best of 3. So I'm still going through the feedback of season 2 before officially putting the post out for season 3. But I do anticipate that sometime early October. I mean, I haven't announced it yet, but my guess would be we're looking somewhere around October 9th or so would probably be the start. And then we'd run about 6 more weeks. Probably that would be the last one for the year because we're going to holidays and all that kind of stuff, and it gets difficult. But yeah, we're looking to kind of keep it going, and as long as people want to play, I'm happy to facilitate it the best that I can. The way I kind of explain it to some folks, my LGS, and people that I met like Jeff and Sin on stream, who's Matt. I say, hey, look, I'm not in it for the clout game anymore. I'm just like, hey, if people want to play, I want to provide an avenue for people to play.
Right.
And as long as there's a calling, I'll go. The second people say, hey, we're over it, I will drop it at that point and move on. But right now, there still seems to be a strong calling. People enjoy it, so I'm happy to kind of post it.
Wait, were we supposed to give feedback?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
How do I give feedback?
Too late.
There's a survey link if you go into the announcements. I was gonna criticize you on it, but I figured I'd be nice for this.
So that's actually funny because until you said that, I'd forgot. Like, I didn't know anything about Smithel or the league or anything, and I think I had made a post about you beating me all the time when we first started playing, and he had mentioned like, oh, well, my wife 3-1 and then quit, and I was like, we had made like a deal or something. If he would do something, if I could get his wife to play more, and I was like, Mrs. Smithel, please, like you think it's good being 3-1? Try being 12-1.
Sadly, has not worked. No, she is, I think, happily retired with her record.
Yeah, so that
I can't blame her. That's a nice record.
Yeah, I told her one time, I was like, you got to come to the game store. I was like, now that like I know how to play and like I could like whoop you and prove that I'm better in front of an audience would be great. But I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I think like that was one of the biggest things for me is that like I don't know. I was honestly discouraged a bit early going on because all we had were blitz decks and we had Monarch and she picked Prism and every deck is kind of hard into Prism, and so like I would get my butt kicked every time and I'm like, I don't understand how. You're not better at games than me. Why are you beating me this much? And and then we did our sealed. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said if one makes you feel real bad, my wife consistently beat me with Bolton.
What were you playing?
Everything and anything. Like, so again, similar, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get into it. I said I'm gonna try everybody. Like, we had a couple of the precons, and then we started to do some sealed. And she would always be like, "Who's the guy with the axes? I'll just keep playing him." And she consistently wrecked me with
That's
Bolton.
Awesome. Yeah, I found that just Prism's too good as the precon blitz deck because you literally block with 2, attack with 2. Like, and the rate is so good that they're taking 2-3 cards out of your hand unless you're blocking, and so. Then she switched to Tales of Aria, where she was Oldhim, and Oldhim's another one that's hard to beat in the pre-cons, and I'm just like, this is awful. But then we started our Journey Through Flesh and Blood series. I might cut all this, but we started our Journey Through Flesh and Blood series, and we were doing Welcome to Wraith, and the first 2 matches were close. The third match, it was Dorinthia, and I was Bravo.
Okay.
She beat me probably 9 times out of 10. It felt so awful. I wanted to quit the game. I was like, this is garbage. And so I'm really upset with the fact that the first official trophy was given to me because that night we had recorded, I think, 4 games.
That was awful.
And she won 3, and there was a camera issue every single time. It was this camera, then it was that camera, then it was the above camera. And it was like, you've beaten me 3 times in a row. I'm bitter. I don't want to play anymore because you just keep kicking my head in. And then the one we got on camera, I won. And I was like, this feels so tainted. I was like, this sucks. I hate beating you because, I don't deserve it. This is my 1 of 10.
I do want to point out, though, if we were to look at the Commoner League stats, too.
No one's looking at those.
We should.
No one's looking at
those. I feel like there's a score difference.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. No, but it's because like it's funny because I think what was it? Welcome to Wraith. It was 1-1, and then I won the box battle officially. And then the Arcane Rising. I think I'm 2-0.
You are 2-0. Yes,
I'm 2-0. So
I am not well versed in Arcane. I did not have a good pull for Azalea, and then I didn't know how to play Dash. That was
you weren't drawing off the
Bowie. That's a whole other problem.
Yeah, no,
that'll do it.
Yeah, I did Viscerai versus Azalea, and then I did Azalea and she did Dash, and so we have our box versus box battle that will be coming up soon. Anyway, probably none of this is going to be in the video, and we just rambled because it was fun to talk.
Hey, I told you I ramble a lot.
You told us about the league a little bit, but why don't you tell us about how you were able to come up with such incredible prizes for something that's free? Like, how do you give prize support for a free system? Because that's insane to me.
I got prizes.
Yeah.
Season 1 prizing. I'm still kind of blown away by how much prizing we were able to get consistently for every season. So, Season 1, I reached out just honestly on Twitter to the company Quiver Time, who makes the quivers and the bolts and all that kind of good stuff. And I said, hey, look, I'm putting something together. I'm not expecting anything. Feel free to say no. However, if you give us something, that would be fantastic. I'd greatly appreciate it. I explained why I was creating the league, trying to explain the community that I'm trying to build there. And they said, hey, look, prize of choice, person that you want, which I was astonished by. Just that they literally opened up their online store and said, let the winner pick something and we will send it to them.
Crazy.
So that yeah, that was super super cool. I was like, that's the peak. That's as good as I'm ever gonna get, you know. And then leading into season two, you know, about 3 weeks beforehand, I started to reach out to people and I said, hey, this is what we did for season one. Quiver Time supported us. That was awesome. Here's what we're trying to build. If you don't want to, you know, donate or you can't donate, that's fine. I understand. And I get a lot of no's. But then, you know, Ultra Pro came by and they were like, yeah, look, you know, we can give you something. How long does it run? Give us more information. I gave it to them and they basically said, okay, look, here's a whole list of codes. You know, it's basically enough for like 2 a week, and then you know we'll go up a little bit for the finals and things like that.
So cool.
And so
Yeah.
that's the reason why I got something like, oh god, what was it, like $10 ones, a couple 25s, a 50, and $100. So they gave me
That
like
is so cool.
$400 in total support. Which again, I was like, oh my god, please, like what can I do for you? Like
Right.
this is
Right.
above and beyond. And then you know every once in a while we just get things like you know who is it, like Paper Collective came in and said, hey look, I just want to donate a mat, can we make one for you? And I said, you know, awesome, yes. And like I try to, like, as people kind of donate and support, especially if they're like uh you know that's their livelihood or something like that, like the Paper Collectives or uh things like that, like Jeff did the koozie. You know, I try to support back to them any chance that I
Yeah, it
get
was
and say,
the
hey look,
James White
whatever
Claw,
we
I
can do.
think.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't realize that was
the
a
James
prize. I
White
thought it was just
koozie.
like a meme or
Well,
something.
it
No,
was.
no.
It was,
Yeah,
but he can't sell it, right? So that's
no,
why
he
you
can.
gave it
I mean,
away.
it has, yeah, it has James White's face on it. So obviously, we can't sell it, and he can't sell it. So what he did is actually funny. For our Road to Nationals event, we all kind of just, or no, it wasn't Road to Nationals. It was the pre-release event. And we just all showed up and like we did a big potluck in Pittsburgh and things like that for our pre-release, and everybody brought food.
That's so
And
cool.
then you
Yeah.
know we're sitting there, and the store owner goes, "Okay, look, I've been working with Jeff's company uh, to help provide this to you guys. You know, come on up, get a White Claw, and have a James White koozie." And he just gave them out to everybody in the store, and it was awesome. So
That's so
basically,
funny.
you know, Jeff gave him to the store. He gave him that. There was no money that exchanged, to my knowledge, and all that kind of stuff. That it was like, this is a really cool thing that a community member did for another community member,
Right.
just for the love of the game. And yeah, so I mean, every once in a while, people just come in and say, "Hey, look, you know, I like what you're doing. I want to support," and I'll do that. You know, I mean, I always try to at least provide a pack a week. You know, if nothing else.
So, Smithel, you told us how great it was about the support you're getting for prizes and such like that. But if someone doesn't necessarily have a prize to give, like, how else can they help support the Commoner League?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways. First, I'll say nobody ever has to financially support the league. You know, I mean, my main mission with the Commoner League is that it should be free for anybody to play this game that wants to play this game, pending that they have the cards. You know, I mean, apart from that, you know, the number one thing I could say if you want to support is, you know, share information. You'll see me tweeting about it, about season start, all that kind of stuff. Sharing it, get the word out there, because the more folks that we have play or interested in playing, the more that we're able to have a good time for the community
Right.
members. I mean, for example, this season we had people drop. We had enough people that were subs that were able to kind of fill in and keep playing. That way, you know, we didn't have a ton of bye weeks or a ton of things like that for everybody. Secondly, you know, if you say, hey, look, I want to kind of help, you know, me personally provide prizing, because again, I do all of the non-corporate prizing, things like that. Is we do have a Patreon. It is patreon.com/FACB, Flesh and Common Blood. And that helps cover things like shipping, booster packs, things like that. Uh, Certainly anybody that does something like that, that's a huge benefit and a
Right.
huge help. Because again, every penny that I get from that goes right back into the league. Because the way I view it is, it's like it's your money. You're
Right.
putting it into the league. It should go back to you. Uh, you know, so like I mentioned to you guys kind of off camera at the beginning, I'm in this for the people that want to play. I don't my full time run a commoner league job kind of thing. So, you know, anything that anybody contributes or donates, I like to pass back along. And it seems to be appreciated, so I'm happy to do it. So yeah, if anybody wants to support or is able to support, certainly word of mouth is number one. Second is if you have a prize or you want to do the Patreon, that's amazing. I will always say yes and thank you to that. I know you guys did a playmat for the next season, so thank you in advance
Yeah.
Next season is kind of the season of playmats. I got Inked Gaming to donate a couple. I have yours. Um, I got the altar, so things like that. So we should have a couple weeks of playmats going forth. So that'd be kind of a good time.
It was I think that's the greatest thing about commoners. Like, oh yeah, when I got into the game, all you heard was that it was too expensive, it's too expensive, it's too expensive, and then like
Yeah.
we had never built decks, and technically I've still only built one to this day, and it's just retuning an Azalea deck. But when we went to the Pro Tour New Jersey, we ran into Midtown. I always forget the name of it. Is it Midtown? Minmax. Minmax Gaming, and they had pre-constructed commoner decks, and they had every main hero.
Yep.
So I have every main hero, and then I'm trying to get all the Crucible heroes, and then we still need Uprising.
Yeah.
But that was like our way of, hey, we have nothing to do. What can we do? Let's play these commoner decks, and we fell in love with it instantly.
Oh, yeah.
So it was great that I just happened upon your tweet again, that word of mouth thing. Finding out about it's one of the biggest ways you can help. And so when I found out about it and we started playing, I was like, this is incredible, so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, and I love that you sat there and said how everybody says it's such an expensive game to get into, because don't get me wrong, some of the equipment pieces certainly are terribly expensive. I mean, I'm sitting here trying to find the crown from Uprising, flame scale furnace I'm still missing, all that kind of stuff. Like those two alone, that's like $200+.
Good thing we pulled two
and so
crowns.
Oh, I know I'm so jealous. But it's one of those things that I said, especially as somebody that was coming from, playing a lot of Commander and Magic the Gathering, is I had friends that were like, "What is this?" And then they'd go and look at a deck and they're like, "Oh my God, it's $800. I'm not paying that for like a mid-tier deck." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. That's if you want the most competitive deck available, like grade A tier, that's the cost. You can do Commoner for $10. Learn the game, see if you like it, go in from there. And then, hey, what do I want to do to upgrade my Commoner to a Blitz deck, like to a fully competitive Blitz? And when you have a good Blitz deck, and you say, okay, I like this, I like what I'm doing here, I love this hero. What can I do to upgrade it into CC? And that's kind of always been my approach, is saying, okay, let's get people in with Commoner, then say, okay, let's strip out some of these commons, replace them with rares, and maybe a high-end piece of equipment or two. See if you still like the hero and how they play now that they have more of their toolkit, and then upgrade.
I think that's one big thing too, is that like even there are some classes like Phi really only plays what, Mask of Momentum. Other than that, the deck's like nothing. Like the deck is next to nothing in cost. So not every deck is expensive. And that's competitive. I think sometimes it played flame scale, but sometimes you didn't need to, and so there are ways you can play a competitive deck without the equipment as well. It's just less consistent.
I'd say that there's probably very few heroes that there's a necessity, like a piece of equipment. Like I'd say like Lexi may be one of them. Like if you're playing CC Lexi, you almost need New Horizon. You need that second arsenal spot. But apart from that, like I run Dory as a main. I have dynamos in it. I have bracers. I have all that kind of good stuff. And really, I don't need dynamos. Refraction bolters is probably just as good in many instances. And that's like a 10-cent card, if anything. So I mean, it's one of those things that you don't need it. Certainly gives you a little bit of an edge in a sideboard, like in Blitz when you're looking at your equipment since you have no sideboard, to sit there and say, okay, I have a little bit more of equipment to mess around with. Or obviously in CC, you have just more sideboard options in general. So I mean, there's ways around it, but certainly what I was trying to do is tell people, hey, look, if there's any interest in the game, check out Commoner. Many of the people that joined our Commoner League were completely new to the game. My buddy Walrus, I played D&D with, he was like, hey, look, I play Commander and Magic, but I miss the one-on-one Magic feel. And I said, well, check out Flesh and Blood. And he goes, it's expensive, I don't want to do it. And I said, look, and I sent him, I think, like a couple decks. And I said, look, learn to play, you'll be fine. And I brought him in, and this was his first season. And he goes, look, I enjoy it. So
I think that's another thing too, is that what people need to know about your Commoner League is that there are people in the Discord, which we will link below as well, that will send you decks. So it can be cheaper than $10. It can be $4.99 shipped. You know what I mean? Just paying for shipping. Yeah. So the game is not too expensive. You just have to reach out to people and.
Well, here's the other thing though. the Commoner League allows you to do both webcam
online, yeah.
and online. So if you don't necessarily have the money right now, or you're trying to figure out what you like, what you don't like, Tabletop Simulator, Flesh and Blood Online, it allows you to play the game without having to spend the money.
Yeah, that's what I did. Honestly, it's funny because I this last season I pretty just memed Azalea all season just so I could make hashtag Azalea posts. And I'm sorry, Azalea Cult, but when I saw that Icelander, I'm gonna learn how to play and I'm gonna win. Because I'm not playing a hero that I know is more than likely gonna lose and I have to play perfectly to win. I'm gonna try and win because I want that effing Icelander.
I do have the Icelander next to me. You know,
Oh,
I know it's coming on here, and I got it in hand, and it is. I'll try to hold it up. I mean, it's tough to see, but it is a very
so
gorgeous
beautiful.
altar, and that's going towards next season. You know, I don't know exactly what the conditions are going to be yet to win that. Like I said, I'd like as much of my prizing to be participation based as possible. You know, but I do feel like, you know, the big one, there should be at least a little bit of a competitive nature to it. But it is absolute gorgeous work. Modfly altars. You know,
So you're gonna ask me for it if I win?
Yeah, if you win it, it's mine. What do you mean? Am I gonna ask for it? I know you ain't looking at me like that. That's mine. If I win something cool, you can have it. But that's mine if we win. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is super cool, and I got to give a shout out to Modfly Altars. I mean, he does amazing work for primarily magic cards. And I said, hey, look, you know, do you do Flesh and Blood? He's like, I've never done it, but I'll do one. And so I commissioned and I paid for him to put this together, and you know, he did amazing work. And I told him, look, I said I'm already planning on sending him a Dorinthia whenever he opens commissions up again, just for myself. So I love his work, and I can't, you know, support him enough, and strongly encourage anybody looking to get a, you know, a high end altar done to reach out to him. But yeah, that'll definitely be given out to somebody next season. I'll be extremely jealous to whoever gets it.
You ain't kidding.
He wants it so bad.
I'm just putting it into the aether right now. If someone wins it and doesn't want it, I will buy it.
It is, and I feel bad because, like I said, it even comes in, and I'll put it back, but it does come with like a nice little pretty box to like come with, and
yeah,
like the guy really puts a lot of effort into his work, and I felt bad. I was like, I want to open it just to make sure it's okay in one piece, but you know, the string will go back on it, and it'll be fully sealed,
right,
for whoever wins it. But it is a gorgeous piece of work.
Oh, it's so good. All right, so through all the star linking that happened during that video, hopefully we were able to get through the Commoner League and what it's all about. So let's continue to get star linked and find out a little bit more about you.
I got questions.
I got answers.
Are you a cat or a dog person?
Why is this your go-to question all of a sudden?
There's another go-to question that you don't want me to ask.
I have both. If I had to pick, would pick my dogs, even though they're more of a pain in my butt. You know, the cats are easier, but the dogs are fun.
Yeah.
You do understand that I could ask him if it could be any animal in the entire world, fiction or nonfiction. It would tell everyone a lot about his personality. And a lot about him personally, like an internal type person.
Go ahead.
Nope.
No, go ahead.
It's not part of the interview.
No, apparently it is. Go ahead.
The answer's squirrel anyway. So.
Yes.
Squirrel.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Huh.
Yes, I support that.
Interesting.
Good animal.
We kind of know a little bit about D&D, but did you play any other games before FaM?
The games I played prior to this, like I said, I played games for like literally my entire life here, but most recently the ones I got real deep into, Destiny 2. Used to write a lot of raid guides for Destiny 2, help people get through that. The Heroes of the Storm, it's not a MOBA, it's a kind of a MOBA.
Right.
You know, there was a Nexus gaming series. I was an admin for one of those whenever they got off. Played a lot of Legends of Runeterra. That was probably the biggest digital card game that I got into. You know, you know, Master Rank and all that kind of stuff. Did a podcast on it for a while. Valorant, did a podcast on Valorant for a while. Then I got into Magic and Commander, and now I'm here. So, you know, it's kind of wide and varied, but, you know, I've always been interested in card games. But like I said, I didn't think I had a local scene. And then I was also like, I'm older and our local scene's younger. Like, if I go in as a 35-year-old guy, is it going to be like all like 18-year-olds and be like, what's this old guy doing here? And so I'm like, there was a little bit of hesitation, until I found my local game store, and I was like, oh no, these guys are awesome. So, yeah, so I mean, I did a little bit of everything before this, but, this has certainly been probably one of the games that I've enjoyed the most, and it's primarily, honestly, because of the community.
So this is the first paper card game that you were into then?
Magic. I did
Magic.
Commander.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Magic
Yeah.
Commander.
No, you're good. Yeah, I did, but it wasn't like I didn't go to pre-releases for Magic or anything like that. I played a lot of Commander. Had a group locally I played with very frequently. So it was more casual setting. It wasn't as deep. It was just more or less like, oh, this would be a fun Commander. Let me see if I could build it for under $100 or something like that, or like under $50. I challenge myself to do a budget build and make it competitive. So, I still have about 20 or 30 Commander decks that I still play relatively regularly. All about mid-range, but I'm just more about having fun than winning. And that's the reason why I play Dory.
I got into Commoner or Commander very briefly. Spent way too much money multiple times, but I've only got one deck left, and it's Goblins, obviously.
That is fair.
Yeah,
that is
Goblins.
fair deck.
Yeah. I think we kind of already discussed this, but what was it that got you into FaM? Was it Commoner or?
No. So it wasn't Commoner. It was actually the fact that, like I said, I played Magic before this. My Commander group kind of fell apart a little bit. One guy got married, started to get busy with work, things like that, and it just naturally fell apart.
Fell apart.
I get it. I'm in that life too. So I mean, it's one of those things that I kept seeing the art for it, kept going, oh, this looks like a fun game, but I don't think I'll have anybody to play with. And so I was like, okay, I started to buy, like, I bought a box, I bought some of the pre-con Blitz decks. I said to the wife, hey, look, you're always looking for something to play. Maybe we'll try this. And we played a little bit, and I was like, okay, this is just too good for me not to try to find a community around. So even when she kind of stopped playing and didn't want to play anymore, I was like, I like the game too much. And that's when I said, okay, let me see what I can do. I don't have the money right now or all of the cards going back to Welcome to Wraith for all the legendaries. And then I was like, what about this commoner format? And I started to look into it before they even said we made it like an official, unofficially format where, they said, hey, we're not going to keep up with it really, but here's the rules. I think DM Armada was running a group that he said commoner, and they played like every other week or something like that. And I think the rules were slightly different, but I was like, okay, well, let me look into that. And so that's what got me started.
Are you going to Nats or Worlds, or is your wife going to go?
Sadly, no. I had her convinced that if I were to have qualified in RTN, that we would have went. But other than that, I said, look, we'll hold it and not go. But I was making a push for nationals, as best I could. But we opted, to hold out this year and maybe go next year or something like that. Maybe see if we can make it around a family trip or something like that. So chances are, 2023, you see me at an event, the whole Smithel clan will be there.
Hey,
so
that's awesome.
They'll be.
Yeah, we got lucky. We went to Orlando. I went mainly by myself. She showed up for one day, and then I met Jim from FabTCG Cards, who we're still heavily connected with. I freaking love that guy. And then I met Red Zone Rogue and DM Ramada there as well. Then we went to New Jersey because I was like, this is the first pro tour. I understand it's our anniversary, but
our wedding.
You like Flesh and Blood. You like Flesh and Blood. Let's do a Flesh and Blood thing. So we went to New Jersey for that. She loved it. Don't let her. Completely misguided, but you loved it, and we had a nice.
I'm not debating if I loved it or not. I'm not debating that. What I'm debating is wanting to spend my wedding anniversary in Secaucus, New Jersey.
You did, and it was great. So around what set was it that you actually got in then?
Yeah, so I started to collect cards here and there around probably Tales of Aria.
Oh, okay. Good set.
And yeah, which is why I love Lexi. I'm not smart enough to play Lexi in my mind. I play her all the time. I just play her very poorly. And I don't I was just talking to Jeff about this today. I don't think far enough ahead where I go, I'm gonna not shoot this arrow and arsenal it, so I have a better turn next turn. I'm just like, I have to pitch resource. I'm just gonna shoot it now, and then I never activate Lexi's ability because I never have anything in arsenal. So I actually could be a Lexi player with no New Horizon because I really never take advantage of 2 arsenal slots, and so Yeah, I love Lexi. I love Tales of Aria. But I started to collect a little bit around there. Evervest is when I started to get really, really
Okay.
deep into it. Uh, and like when I say that, I mean like I'm like, look, I'm building a community. I'm collecting boxes. I want to, the cold foils. Like the bug bit me by that point.
Right.
So not as long as many other people, but I've been, gosh, I've bought boxes of at least every set now. I
Awesome.
love Welcome to Wrath. I love all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I got all kinds of stuff behind me. I mean, all those BCW cards where I'm like, I just got tons of bulk. I'm just trying to offload into commoner decks to
Right. Right.
people
Right.
because I'm like, I need to make more room for Dynasty, or else I'm just not going to have the space.
Oh my gosh, dude, we feel that. We have cards
Yeah.
literally everywhere back here.
You just can't see.
We just did the mass box openings, and so like we have all the cards are still in the boxes. Yeah.
Yeah,
All the cards are
I
still
got,
in the box. We have that tower too. It's down here full.
yep,
Yeah, there's more
yep. No,
everywhere.
that's why I had to close this side of the closet because it's just too much of a mess.
What is your favorite aspect of Flesh and Blood as a whole?
So my favorite aspect of as a whole is, and this is primarily I think because I play warrior, is it feels like a battle almost. Like it feels like I'm starting as strong as I'm ever gonna be, and you are chipping away at me time after time after time after time. And so it's like because it's warrior, it's like, hey, swing weapon, swing weapon, swing weapon. Uh, it just feels like okay, like I need to find a way to close this out, or else I'm in trouble. And I love that feeling of it. Just it feels like a back and forth. I think that's why I gravitate more towards like warriors or like Lexi, like where it's like, hey, it feels like okay, I'm loading the bow, I'm shooting, I'm loading the bow, I'm shooting, as opposed to somebody like, uh, I don't know, we'll say like maybe Prism. As good as Prism is, Prism never clicked with me because it's all about the cards, and I get that that's the feel, but I'm like, I like the heroes that feel that way, like it's a battle. So,
Right.
uh,
Yeah. There's something
yeah,
about a ranger that I just absolutely love. There's just something about taking that card, pulling the
mhm,
string back, and then letting it go. Like it just you feel that. It's
exactly.
so fun.
Exactly. And so I'm trying to make Bolton work in the worst way. I just haven't nailed down a deck that I like about him just because it has that similar feeling of like, oh, I'm hitting it and then I'm charging with it and then I'm using that and it just feels good. It's just he's so sad right now.
I've heard you talk a lot about Warrior and Lexi. So, are those your favorite heroes and classes, or is there you going to throw us an oddball here?
I know the answer.
I,
I do.
let's see. What's the answer? Go for it.
His favorite hero is Dory.
Dory is most definitely my favorite
Boom.
hero. Hands down, no questions asked. I mean, even among all the warriors, like you got Bolton Kasai. There is nothing quite like Dory, I think, in this game. Where not only do you have like, are you just like, okay, I'm swinging a sword, I'm battling, but you also have to sit there and find a way. Like, I have to make it hit. Like, I have to find a way to get through, and the mind game that you play with your opponents of do I have it? Do I overblock? Do I make you go off of your strategy and off of what you want to do for me that may have nothing is awesome. Like I played a lot of poker with my buddies in high school and college growing up, and that mind game of just trying to bluff somebody out uh, when you have nothing is great. So it is Dory hands down. With Lexi is a close second.
So, is Warrior your favorite class then?
Most definitely. Most definitely. It'll take a lot for me not to, be a warrior main.
Thank you so much, Smithel, for joining us. Can you let our viewers know where they can find you and more of your stuff?
Sure. So if you want to ever play a game or get a game with me or just see what's going on, the best place to reach me is Twitter. Honestly, it's at Smithel Gaming. There'll be links there to the Discord for the Commoner League. If you're just getting into the game or you want to check it out for next season, uh, feel free to stop in there. I try to talk to everybody as much as I can there as well. Peace out, Gob Squad. Gob Squad.
I have to be like over here. I'm like way off. I'm like barely in frame. Like, hey, welcome to Amy and Smithel with the side of Hank.
It's called White Heat Wednesdays. Get used to it.
Just every minute, just slowly scoot him over a little bit until he's completely out of frame.
And then just randomly take the headphone back.
Oh my god.
Hey,
Yeah, it would help if you read. If you read, you'd know.
I didn't read.
no worries. If you get through this, you start editing, you go, oh, this kind of sounds like crap. Can you get back on real quick and just answer this question? I will always happily jump back
That'll
on.
never
Whatever
happen. If you
need.
sound like crap, that's on you.
We'll remember that.
I don't know if you've seen our videos, but I mean, we just leave it all there.
You're good. You're good.
All right.
The best part is the outtakes. You were too much into this. You know, I cut
just
off
do the
like 30
intro,
seconds
and then
here,
we'll
right?
continue from there.
Bro, I can only remember so much.
This reminds me of my podcast days.
He's a
This is
goldfish.
fun.
Finding Nemo, Dory. Welcome to another episode of FaBFaM.
Can you not sound so cool?
I'm scared.
Welcome to another episode of, what is it? 6 letters, starts with Fab, froze. I hate this.
Calling for it that I said,
Yeah, hold on.
hey, look out.
You got Starlinked.
Golly, you got Starlinked.
Yeah. Just start recording and lock the door, and we'll just have a nice casual, non-prepared interview.
Absolutely, I'm here for that. I am 100% here for that. I think he might flip his lid, but it'd be too good of audio and video to like get rid of. He'd be like, I have to. Oh, I think he got Starlinked.
Yeah, he did. He got Starlinked.
Ah.
I cannot wait to move.
Oh, there he is. You got Starlinked again.
Hey, I was just saying, I think I got Starlinked.
I hate this internet, man.
Because I heard, if you look at the stats, and I said, oh, there's a clear winner for sure between the two of you. And then it was just a freeze, and I'm like, okay, either I really upset Hank, or else.
Interview's over, apparently.
So as long as I can afford to do so.
Welcome back.
I would say, I blame Hank. It seems to work when he's not here.
You noticed that too, didn't you? I've noticed that as well.
It's his frustration. It's just emanating and messing with the Wi-Fi signal. and I'm like, okay, cool. So nobody's saying I demand it.
Why?
It's what he gets for calling me out. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, you literally call her out and then you froze.
You got Starlinked.
Which only one of the two of you filled out, and then it's like...
You know what the cause was? Whenever I said, hey, look, if things go bad, you need me to come back in to fix things. It's fine. And he goes, no, it's on you. And he goes, they'll never be. And so I'm like, you know, you want to rain karma down on you like that.
Oh, my God.
I'm allowed to talk now.
You're allowed to talk all the time. You just choose not to.
True story. All right. Important question. I got to know.
Creepy. Balls like looking into the camera.
I almost regret
positive.
knowing that we got Starlinked as much as we did, that I didn't take this interview from just random spots throughout the room. So every time it edited, it would just be at a different location.
This video was produced over 17 years. Oh, he didn't hear that because he got Starlinked.
Take back everything and nice I said. Can you just start scooting her that way out of the frame, like slowly, minute by minute?
So is that what you thought I was going to ask? No, it wasn't.
But it still fit in. All right, so I've heard you. So we're gonna end. Amy will go and Amy will go.
You have to redo it.
Yeah, you suck again.
Oh, I blame. What was it? Skylink. That was Skylink, not me.
Skylink.
This is why wifey is slowly inching you that way. Just. We will.
There's the outro.